Hello friends, welcome to the channel DriddleConnect.com. In this session, we will discuss about the arrow function in JavaScript and what is the basic difference between regular function and your arrow function. So basically, arrow function arrived in our year 6 and we mostly use it for callbacks. So it is very convenient to write and use within the callbacks. So we will go in deep and we will discuss one by one what are the things inside arrow function so it makes better to use and how it's differ from the regular functions in JavaScript. Okay, so we have a stack builds here and we will go for the JavaScript main project. So to discuss here with practical. Okay, so we are going to discuss arrow function versus regular function. Okay, in JavaScript. Okay, so what are the topics we will discuss today? See, inside the arrow function and the regular function, we have mostly difference. Whatever the difference are in, we have here list of differences. Okay, so basically we will discuss what are the differences in syntax and what is the use of this keyword inside this arrow function and regular function. Availability of your argument objects inside the regular and arrow function. How can we use the new keywords with regular and arrow, and what are the implicit return types in arrow function and regular function, and how we use this arrow or regular inside methods as a methods in class. Okay, so we will discuss syntax first. Okay, so basically you know that we have a regular function called function declaration, and let's suppose we have function a. Okay, and console.log a. So this is basically the function declaration type. Okay, so now we go for the example called function expression. Within the expression, okay, so in expression we have var a b, you can say, and we don't have name right at the right. Okay, so we are printing it b here. Okay, and third type is whatever the thing is arrow function. Okay, so basically how arrow function differs, you can see in syntax. We have to just move it here, remove it. Okay, and we will just put a arrow which is called lambda expression. Okay, and we will just console it c. Okay, so basically we have three functions a, b, and c, and a is called function declaration type, and b is function expression, and c is arrow function. Okay, so now we call this a, similarly b, similarly c. So you can see in the console that we are getting a, b, and c in each output. So means that all are working. Okay, now what do? You just cut it out here and you just paste at the top of all the function. See what happens. There is error on the b. A is running successfully. There is no error for a, and for b it is error. So what happens? B is not a function. Okay, so what happens if we write it after b? Okay, so see, b is working correctly after this, and c is also giving error. Means c have to be defined after the declaration. So now these all are working. So this is basically the difference of function declaration and expression type. Okay, so basically expression type will have to be defined first and then have to use. Whereas in the regular function declaration type, you can declare after the calling. Okay, so what you see here, we have the three types of function. Okay, so this is basically the syntax type. Okay, So we will go for the use of this keyword. Okay, so for that we will erase all this. Okay, so how can we see that the use of this keyword? Okay, so let's have an example. Let's have a JSON data object. Okay, and here we have a name as React. Okay, and we have a method get name. Okay, and here we are consoling log this dot name. Okay, similarly we have another method which is called arrow function. So I am giving it the name 2, and we are using the arrow function here, and we are printing the same console dot this dot name. Okay, so what we have to do, we have to call get name first. So what will be the output? We are getting this dot name. So if you have name 2 here, see, in the name 2 we are getting undefined. That means this dot name is not able to get the name, means this is not working here. Okay, so if you console this, you can see this is empty, but if you console this, you can see this has the parent scope, means this all scope has been here inside this, but inside this arrow function you are not getting the parent's scope, as this means this will not work inside this arrow function. Okay, so now come to the availability of the argument objects. So in similar example, what we do, we just pass some variables. Okay, and will just use the arguments key. Okay, to print the arguments. Okay, and we will pass 1 comma, let's suppose 4 here. So as you pass here 1 comma 4 inside these arguments, and you are consoling the whole arguments, so you are getting 0 1, means at the position of 0 you are getting 1, and as 4 inside second position as a single JSON. So you can see it's a JSON. In JSON you are getting JSON object. So you are getting a JSON object as a response. Okay. Now what happens? Similar things if you write inside this and you just pass 2,6 here. So you can see we are not getting the real data what we are passing. Okay, we are getting the parents scoped arguments, means if this one is defined under some functions, parent function internally of the window object, it is getting that arguments for you. It is not getting the arguments which are for this function. Okay, so it is getting the parents, means when whatever the object, DOM object or window document object is there, it is getting that object. You can say it's like index.js and something what are the things that are getting. Okay, it is getting the URL of the page something. Okay, so that means arguments will not work inside your arrow function. So what if you want arguments? Okay, so for that you have to do, if you want arguments, then you have to pass like args as rest operator. Okay, using the rest operator. Okay, and you have to just pass it here. Okay, so now you can see we are getting whatever the arguments we are passing inside this arrow function. If you write like this arg with the rest operator, okay, then you can get your arguments inside this as in array form. So this is the basically the difference between the arguments passing, okay, between an arrow and normal function. So now we go for the next, using new keyword. Okay, so what happens if we use the new keyword? Okay, so let's suppose we have a variable a equal to new. Okay, so you can say it is working properly, but what happen if we write equal to new? Okay, so if you use new with arrow function, you will get this error that it's not a constructor. That means arrow function don't have their own constructor. Okay, whereas the regular function have their own constructor. Okay, so that's why arrow function don't have their own this as well, and whereas similarly the regular has their own this. Okay, so you can say that no, a regular function can behave as a class, but a arrow function cannot behave like a class. Okay, so you are getting error for this new, but you are getting value for this new. Okay, so we go for the implicit return, means return type. So for that, what you see, okay, let's suppose we return some value from here, return 23. Okay, where a equal to, or you can just console it dot. So if we console it the regular function with returning value 23, we are getting 23. Same what we do, same we will return 45 here, and we will console the same. So you are getting the 45. Now the main difference what we will see here, if you will remove this one and you will have to remove return. Okay, and remove this one. Okay, now you can see this is working, but what happens if we will remove this braces? It is giving error. So let's suppose if we have here and we delete this one, so you can see it is not returning anything, it is returning undefined, whereas this is working properly. That means it can return implicit without the use of braces. It can return value as well. You can also add something here as well with value. It is working with expression. Okay, whereas this is not working, so you have to use the return like this, then it will work. Okay, now next come to the methods in a class. Now we go for the class type. Okay, so we just delete all this. Now we are going to create a class demo. Okay, and inside let's we have a constructor, and inside constructor we have a this dot name equal to react JS. Okay, and we have a function called get name. It's a regular function, and inside this we are consoling console.log this dot name. Okay, similarly we have another function with expression with arrow function called getName2. Okay, so now we have a where equal to new demo. Okay, so we have a reference of class. Okay, now what we do, we will call get name, but you can see we are printing the name, it's working. Okay, so what happens if it called with name2, it is also working. That means both are working. Now what is the difference? So the difference is here, if you want to use this method inside any async operations like set timeout, then you will have a problem. Let's suppose we have a set timeout, okay, and we are using this method get name with 1 second. Okay, so just clear out this one, and we will just rerun this and we will just comment it. Okay, so you can see we are getting preview frame, which is the window object, means document object result, not for this class. Okay, you are not getting the name from this class. It is basically getting from the window object. You can see from here it is getting the name from the window object. Okay, so this is basically the preview frame. Okay, so now what will happen if you will call preview 2, sorry, get name 2. Here what we see that it is returning with React.js. That means this one is working with this dot name. You can check what is it's returning. See, the arrow function is returning with demo. Okay, means with demo scope, whereas the normal regular function inside a class is returning with window object, means their parents one scope. Okay, so how can you overcome with this? So you can see that everywhere what we do is when we use timeout, we basically use the arrow function as a callback. That's why there should be not any scope issue. Okay, so but what will happen if you want to behave make to behave like this, similar to this one? Okay, so for that you can do two things. The first one thing is that you will go here and you can write like get name equal to this dot get name, and you will just bind the scope here. Okay, so now what will you see? You can see your first one is also giving the same scope. You can see the same scope are giving by both, means now this will both will work for this name. Okay, means this will get the it means demo scopes. Okay, or the other thing, another way to do like this, you have to, when you have to call, then you can bind parent scope like this, then you will also get the same. Okay, see, so here also we have binded the parent scope here. So now this will point to this scope of this demo. Okay, so now there you will get the whatever the value you want to get from this scope. Okay, so these are the basic differences of using the arrow function and the regular function. I hope you got understand between the regular function and a arrow function. Now a question is that which is better in performance, arrow function, expression function, or arrow function? Regular function versus arrow function versus expression one. Which one will be fast as performance? So always remember that function declaration type is always winner in performance. Okay, so always remember this thing. Okay? This will be the winner in every time. Okay, so thanks for watching this session. Subscribe our channel and like this video, and you will get more functions on JavaScript with practical and in future. And thanks for watching again.